Power Breakfast. Tech Thursday.
On Tech Thursday at 7:54. Another tag on to that Washington conversation is the conversation about Starlink. That was also a really wild add-on we'll talk about now, but we have Mudiwa Gavaza with us this morning. Sorry, Mudiwa, for that one. But Business Day journalist. Mudiwa, I'm really interested in the Starlink part of this conversation because yesterday there were two moments in which I knew that Starlink was definitely in the room. One was when President Trump kind of pointed to Elon Musk, who wasn't in shot, saying that he doesn't want to kind of put him in an awkward position and kind of hinting to the fact that he's had to sell things for him in the past. And one when Johan Rupert, our rich uncle, basically said we need Starlink in every police station across the country. Is there a deal on the table around Starlink? And is that one of the things that that meeting was actually for when it comes to the American side?
Well, good morning. If you're going to believe some of the insiders around this issue, then one of the biggest points of speculation when it comes to all the pressure that's been put on South Africa by the U.S. government since this new administration came into effect, then the undertone or what is being said is that the subject of everything that's being done right now is that it's all theater, and that the underlying thing is, trying to make sure that Starlink, gets a pass and is able to start operating in South Africa. So, depending on who you're talking to, there's a lot of belief that all of this mess that we're seeing is, just theater to try and get, Starlink to start operating in South Africa.
And then the question is, did we then endure what we did last night for a bag that isn't actually ours? So, because there's a backstory to the Starlink conversation, that on the sidelines of the United Nations meeting, UNGA, in, I think it was September last year, our president met up with Elon Musk. There's the picture that we see as the outcome of that conversation. And then there was talk that in November sometime last year, there was also a conversation between the two. I think that happened either on the phone or virtually or something like that. And then, of course, Elon Musk came out swinging in the last month or so, talking about the fact that he's disgruntled about not being able to do business based on his BEE status not being high enough, or not being able to do favorable business. Because it's not that he can't do business, it's that he would not be able to do it under the most favorable terms or conditions. And so when we say we were doing all of this so that we could go to the back door and actually secure the bag, were we actually, in fact, securing a Starlink bag?
Well, that one remains to be that one remains to be seen. When we finally, I guess, one of these days, declassify what actually happened in some of these backroom, discussions. But on that point, whatever they come up with, it wouldn't be unique per se to Starlink, because we've actually seen deals like this being struck with a couple of other companies. Don't forget that there's a lot of international technology companies that are operating in South Africa, but many of them don't have a BE partner per se, but rather they have made concessions, to say we're going to just make sure that leadership considers historically disadvantaged people, our supply chain, the people that we're buying from locally in South Africa, as well as, a number of CSI commitments, that type of thing. Those are what is called, I believe they're called BE equivalents.
Yeah.
To say, instead of attacking the ownership part, let's attack the operational part of doing business. And that's basically what's on the table. If all the rumors are to be, to be believed. And even when all of the stuff started last in September. To your earlier point, that was one of the big things that people were sitting there and saying, okay, this, we might find ourselves in one of those situations. And from an industry point of view, that's one of the things that the rest of the industry players have been saying. They're like, listen, we don't have a problem with Starlink coming in. We just want to make sure that whatever rules there we have been made to
abide by,
adhere to, yes, then Starlink must also adhere by the same rules as well. So it's not just a government thing; it's also an industry that's sitting there, say, hoping that no one else is getting any favorable treatment, because everyone in the industry is administered to by the same Electronic Communications Act, and simply saying, hey, this is the playing field, these are the rules of the game. Please don't let anyone else have any special treatment on this field.
And for me, one of the things that's going to say whether we've failed or passed when it comes to this diplomatic mission that we just took is whether or not Starlink gets its way. If it does, then I think that we would not have done well for ourselves as South Africa, because I think that deal is a big part of what is not being said about the South African mission that we just saw undertaken yesterday. So thank you so much, Mudiwa, for breaking that down for us. Mudiwa Gavaza, technology correspondent at the Business Day.